Good day to you, Michael Didier speaking from We Are Israel blog. We're finishing up the Torah here in the next few weeks. Very exciting. Last week we covered 26, 27, and the blessings in 28 of Deuteronomy. I would like to do a quick review just to some of the highlights that we covered last week. We started in 26 talking about when thou come into thy land, which Yehovah thy Elohim is giving thee. We're going to have our very first crop. Are we going to go in right after Passover? I wonder what time of year it is that we're going to go into the land. Wouldn't that be interesting to know? Noah went into the land after he went through the flood in the second month, right after second Passover. I wonder if that'll be the same time that we'll come into the land. I liken the 144,000 and the people who are going to join themselves to them as Noah and his family who joined themselves to Noah. I think there's going to be a whole lot more people, men with their families, that are going to start this new millennia. It's going to be under the rule of Yehovah's statutes and judgments and ordinances. Won't that be a wonderful time to be alive? Oh, Father, preserve us and keep us and bring us into that time. Oh, could your days be so close as to begin in our lifetime? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Of course, how many men like me have there been who have wanted to see that also and didn't get to see that? Oh, Father, come today, come soon and deliver your people a second time. You know, tomorrow is Yom Kippurim. It begins actually tonight at sunset. Today is September 30th. It's beginning tonight at sunset. It's going to go through Sunday at sunset. This is a time where we're going to reflect. Yehovah calls it afflicting our souls. You know, everybody wants to make it about fasting. I don't think fasting is really the prime ingredient for afflicting our souls. I think it's introspection. It's a time for us to look at how are we fitting into and going along with Yehovah's created purpose for our life, whether we be a man or a woman. Well, let's keep moving. We were talking about coming into our land. We're going to have our first crop. Deuteronomy says that we're going to bring it to the priest. They said the one who is priest. It's just simply the priests. And we're going to declare something to Yehovah. Is this a one-time deal? Is this something that's going to go on for every harvest that we have in our land? It seems like this is the first one from what they're saying here. These are the things that we're going to say. My father was a Syrian, we saw last week, Syrian. About to perish and went down to Egypt to dwell there. What are we talking about? Sounds like Jacob. Jacob, he was in Haran for a while. I guess you could argue that was Syria. But the word that we're having here, and I mentioned it last week, was this word, Arami. Arami, it sounds like sons of Aram. Aramite. In fact, that's what the definition was for this, Aramite. But you know what? As I was editing this, I thought, this doesn't work. We're not talking about Aramites. I was thinking he was the son of, remember, Shem had Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were these guys. But then it says Arphaxad begot Salah. This is not Aram that begot Salah. This is Arphaxad that begot Salah. All of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, came from the line of Arphaxad, not the line of Aram. So why does it say Arami? Why is it getting translated as Syrian? Are they trying to make it so that Abraham came from Haran? Remember, Abraham was in Haran for a number of years. He went into the promised land for a short time and then went back into Haran for another 5 years. And then at 75, came back into the promised land with Lot. Are we talking about Abraham living with his father Haran for those years? Is that what makes him a Syrian? And why then does it say Arami? Well, these are all questions that we all have if we study Yehovah's word carefully. The next thing we talked about was this third year tithe. Where does this third year tithe come into? When you have finished laying aside the tithe of your increase in the third year. Okay, the tithe of our increase is what we do every year. We set it aside, we give it to the Levites. But now it says the year of tithing. The tithe of your increase in the third year, the year of tithing? Where does this even come from? And have given it to the Levite? The stranger, the fatherless, the widow? What? It's not going to the Levite anymore. Then the next verse, look what it says. Talking to Yehovah, you shall say before Yehovah, thy Elohim, I have removed the holy tithe from my house and have also given it to the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow, according to all your commandments which you commanded me. Where has he commanded this third year tithe? And since when in any year do we give the tithe that goes to the Levite, to the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow? We're supposed to take care of them anyway, not with the tithe. Well, I find this all very troubling. Then look what it says, still talking about this third year tithe. When does Yehovah ever talk like this? I have not eaten any of it when in mourning, nor have I removed any of it for an unclean purpose. Mourning? Unclean purpose? Not given any of it for the dead? When does Yehovah ever talk like that? It's troubling. Finally, he talks about today. Today. We're going to be a segula. Also today. This thing, today. We just see today all over here. Today, this day. Well, we'll see it more in the next chapter, I guess. He says, also today, Yehovah has proclaimed you to be to him, for a people, a special treasure. He's talking to his Ezra men. This is the same thing that he says in Exodus 19 about his special treasure, his segula. And then he says, you shall say this to all Israel's seed. Last verse here. And he will set you high above all nations. Do you hear that? Set you high above all nations. Are you numbered among the nations? Or are you numbered among Israel's seed? You know, this is something to talk to Yehovah about tomorrow as we are doing Yom Kippurim. And looking at the Elohim, the lawmakers and judges that we serve. Which lawmaker and which judge are we supposed to serve? The Elohim of the land or the Elohim on the mountain? That's the Elohim that Israel serves. If we're numbered among the nations, we can't be numbered among Yehovah's people. Next chapter, 27. Here, they're using the same thing. Today. And Moses, with the elders of Israel, commanded the people. Which people are we talking about? Israel's seed, to keep the commandments which I command you today. You all today. He says, when you cross over, we're going to come to Mount Ebal. Mount Ebal was, remember, there was Mount Ebal, then Shechem just to the south of that in the valley, and then another mountain, Mount Gerizim. Mount Ebal is the one on the north. He told us to put up an altar on that mountain. There we were going to do Olah, raise up Olah, sweet aroma to Yehovah, and eat our shalomim. Remember, the fat's going to go on the altar, and we're going to eat our shalomim. He tells us that we're going to whitewash a bunch of rocks that we're going to bring up to Mount Ebal, and write on those stones, we're going to whitewash them with, what did they say that was? Whitewash them with lime. And write all the words, here it is, whitewash all the Torah's words. All the Torah's words. That's a lot of words. Take heed and listen, Israel. This day you have become the people of Yehovah. What happened this day? Did something happen this particular day? Maybe this day you are the people of Yehovah. They haven't kept Passover yet. They're going to keep Passover right after they cross over the Jordan. So many questions for me. We had the curses. Well, here, it was the Levites. Shall speak with a loud voice and say to all Israel's men. These are all the Ezra men. Not talking to the ladies. They divided us up. They put half of Israel's seed on Mount Ebal and half of Israel's seed on Mount Gerizim. Then we recited some curses, and all Israel's seed said, Amen, 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 Amen. Finally, we moved to chapter 28 and we started talking about the blessings. If you Shema, Shema. Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's really beautiful. Remember, Shema, hear and obey. If you Shema, Shema, hear and obey. Looks to me like one of them is being used as a verb and the other one is being used as a noun. Shema, Shema. Beautiful. Again, it says today. The voice of Yehovah, thy Elohim, to observe carefully all his commandments, which I command thee today, that Yehovah, thy Elohim, will set thee high above all the nations of the earth. Aren't we a nation of the earth? You know what? We, again, are being an example to all the nations. All the nations. All the nations. You'd almost think that aren't we on the earth? That's what people say. Well, aren't you on the earth? No, I think we dwell in heaven. Israel's seed dwells under the jurisdictional authority of a spiritual Elohim, Yehovah. We dwell in heaven. And we keep his statutes and his judgments and his ordinances. Look, and here's a key. I found this, we're going to see it later on today, but it was in Deuteronomy 28:63, towards the end, after all the curses. It says, and it shall be that just as Yehovah rejoiced over thee to do thee good and to multiply thee. So Yehovah will rejoice over thee, to destroy thee and bring thee to nothing. Did you hear that? Either way, Yehovah is rejoicing. He wants to preserve the people who will Shema him. But if we won't Shema, he's going to rejoice in our destruction. Can't keep us around. These blessings are meant for our continuance and our growth. He wants to multiply our seed, multiply all the good things in our life. Here, I want to show you something. I think I put it here. You know what? I'm going to look it up. We're talking about high above all the nations of the earth. Some are dwelling in heaven. Some are dwelling on earth. Most dwell on earth. They're born into some kingdom of the earth, and we stay in that kingdom and die in that kingdom our whole life, don't we? But you know what? There's another people. And if I go to, let me just do this. I want to go to a search. It might still be in here. King's Law. There it is right there. This is the one I'm looking for. I'll search for that, and I want to go here. Here it is. What it says. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom. Their laws are different from all other peoples, and they do not keep the king's laws. Therefore, it is not fitting for the king to let them remain. Not fitting for the king to let them remain. Did they remain? Yes, they remained and they prospered because they kept following Yehovah's statutes and judgments and ordinances instead of the king's. They weren't numbered among the people of the earth. They were numbered among Yehovah's people. Let's go back. Still doing our review here. Talking about the blessings. We're almost done with this review. And really, we're started on this next lesson. Here's what it was talking about. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee because you obey, because thou obey the voice of Yehovah, thy Elohim. These are perpetual. These are things that are going to be ongoing. Blessed shall you be in the city. Blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed wherever you're at. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body. Remember, we've got to have our seed produce seed, produce seed, produce seed. The produce of thy ground, the increase of thy livestock. What kind of livestock? The increase of thy cattle and the increase and the offspring of thy flocks. Blessed is the basket. Blessed is the kneading bowl. Blessed are you, or blessed are thee when thou comes in and when thou goes out. Yehovah will cause thy enemies to rise up against thee and to be defeated from thy face. They're going to come against us one way. They're going to flee 7 ways. Here, then all the peoples of the earth. Oh, I bet you this is where it was. Yeah. They do not keep the king's laws. There it is in the bottom right-hand corner. Then all the peoples of the earth, all the earth's people, that's really what it says. All the earth's people. Aren't we the earth's people? No, we're Yehovah's people. Shall see that thou art called by the name of Yehovah, and they shall be afraid of thee. Can't be numbered among the nations of the earth and consider yourself Yehovah's people. This is why we cross over. This is why we leave one kingdom and come into the next. This is what makes us Hebrews. Talking to men. Yehovah will open to thee his good treasure. What's his good treasure? The heavens. Oh, isn't that beautiful? That's the rain that comes on us, the dew. Open to us his good heavens and give the rain in thy land in its season, and to bless all the work of thy hand. So you shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you. There it is again. This day, today, the same day. We see it all over Deuteronomy from chapter 2 all the way to chapter 30. Might even be 32 now that I think about it. Thou shalt not turn aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right or to the left, to go after other Elohim, lawmakers and judges, to serve them. But now comes the curses. We had 15 verses, really 14 verses, not even that, maybe 13 verses of blessings. Now the rest, what is it? 40 verses, approximately, are going to be curses. Do you want the blessings or do you want the curses? Remember, the curses are worthless. They're designed to bring us to nothing and to get us kicked out of the land. Where one of the blessings are going to help us multiply and prosper, the blessings are going to diminish us and drive us from the land. You know what? As I looked at these curses, I thought, are these curses just for Israel? The men of Israel that will not or have stopped shemaing Yehovah's word, hearing and obeying? Why are there bad things that happen to good people? Oh man, how many times have we heard that? Why do bad things happen to good people? Maybe they're not good people. You know what? Woe to those who call evil good, who call bitter sweet, who call darkness light and light darkness. We have a lot of people who say, why, they're good people. They seem like good people. But you know what? Good is relative unless we're understanding it in the context of Yehovah's word. It appears to me that there are a lot of people out there who are under the curses. Seems like with some families, boy, we've had some families even where we live in this area right now, that it just seems like they're constantly having loss of jobs, sickness in their families, broken arms, broken legs. Oh, just constant things that are happening to them. Why? Where is Israel now? We have been scattered among the nations. Isn't that what these curses were all about? Scattering us among the nations? Let's think about that as we go through some of these. But it shall come to pass, if you do not shema the voice of Yehovah, thy Elohim, to observe carefully all his commandments. Do you hear this? His commandments, his statutes, which I command thee today, that all the curses, what is the word they're going to use there? All the curses. Kalalat. The curses. A feminine noun. Word comes from the verb kalal, meaning to curse. This noun describes a general speaking of ill will against another, as well as an official pronouncement on a person, as Jacob feared he would receive from Isaac. Interesting. The pronouncement. Remember, he wanted to get the blessing that his brother, we all think, was supposed to have. I don't think his brother was supposed to have it at all. Isaac was going to give it to his brother Esau, but Yehovah had already said that the older should serve the younger. I think that it was Rebecca that actually righted things the way they were supposed to be. Well, that's another story for another day, I guess, really. We talked about the curses. They're about bringing us to nothing here. This is the pictograph Kaf is a picture of a sun on the horizon. The gathering of the light. The Lamed is a picture of a shepherd's staff representing authority. Combined, these mean gathering to the staff. When the shepherd called the sheep, they swiftly came to him. The staff of the shepherd was his tool of authority, with which he would direct, discipline, and protect the flock. The flock is protected, but also disciplined by the staff of the shepherd. Here's the curse. Remember that was the root. This is the actual word for the curse. Something that is light in stature, considered worthless. Remember, he's talking about bringing us to nothing. Bringing us to nothing. We had the same curses in Deuteronomy 26. Why does it say 29? There's 26 here. If you do not obey me, and do not observe all these commandments, and if you despise my statutes, or if your soul abhors my judgments, so that you do not perform all my commandments, but break my covenant, I will also do this to you. I will even appoint terror over you, wasting, disease, fever, which shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart. You shall sow your seed in vain. Your enemies shall eat it. I will set my face against you, and you will be defeated by your enemies. Those who hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you. This is the second time that we're seeing these blessings and these curses. Now here's the beginning of the curses. Cursed shall thou be in the city. Cursed shall thou be in the country. Just the opposite of what was going on before. Cursed shall be thy basket and thine eating bowl. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Oh my goodness. Remember, we're talking about sons. And the produce of thy land, the increase of thy cattle, and the offspring of thy flocks. It's just completely opposite. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. Yehovah will send on thee cursing, confusion, and rebuke in all that thou set thy hand to do, until thou art destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings, in which thou have forsaken me. This is all about our destruction. When Yehovah returns and gathers his people, what happened the first time when Yehovah gathered his people from Egypt? Cursing and confusion and rebuke. I think we're going to see it again for all those people who will not repent when they see Yehovah coming. Remember, he's going to raise up his men. You either come to them and learn righteousness, or you stay in the kingdom of your the earth, and die. I think those are the only choices you're going to have. He's going to wipe all those people off the earth. Yehovah will send on thee cursing, confusion, and rebuke in all that thou set thy hand to do, until thou art destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings, in which thou have forsaken me. Don't forsake Yehovah. Yehovah will make a plague cling to thee until he has consumed thee from the land which thou art going to possess. We haven't even got it yet. And Yehovah, here, one of my things here. Disease-related destruction. I'm going to try and label some of these things. Yehovah will strike thee with consumption, with fever, inflammation, with severe burning fever, with the sword, with scorching, and with mildew. They shall pursue thee until thou perishes. It's about our destruction. A wasting away. It talks about consumption. A wasting away. Consumption of disease, making one thin. He continues, and thy heavens, which are over thy head, shall be bronze. In other words, we're not going to get any water. Where Yehovah was bringing down his blessings from the heavens, not going to come on the wicked. And the earth which is under thee shall be iron. Heaven and earth related destruction. And Yehovah will change the rain of thy land to powder and dust from heaven, from the heavens. Here. The Shamim. The Shamim is where the birds fly. The heavens. And it shall come down on thee until thou art destroyed. Here's 29:20. Yehovah would not separate him, for then the anger of Yehovah and his jealousy would burn against that man. I think this is talking about the man who has... I probably should have picked up a little bit more of this. Against the man, and every curse that is written in the book would settle on him. This is the man who's saying, it will not hurt me, it won't hurt me. Blot out his name from under the heavens. And we'll talk about that some more. Now this is written well. To blot out a man's name from under the heavens is to kill him and all his seed sons. A daughter would not provide seed for another. A daughter would provide seed for another man, not her father. And Yehovah will cause thee to be defeated before thy enemies. Here's destruction by enemies and warring. This is kind of different. It says, Yehovah will cause thee to be defeated before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways. Just the opposite of what was happening before them. And thou shalt become troublesome to all the kingdoms of the earth. Troublesome. To me, it's kind of like when I understand troublesome, maybe it's just a language, I'm thinking that we're going to cause them trouble. But I think it's just the opposite. You will be troubled by every kingdom of the earth. I think it's a better way to say it. This is what the Complete Jewish Bible says. I think that's a better way to say it. Your carcasses shall be food for the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no one shall frighten them away. Oh boy. Here is now destruction. This is boils, the boils of Egypt. Again, health-related ones. Yehovah will strike thee with the boils of Egypt, with tumors, with scab, and with itch, from which thou cannot be healed. Here's the boils and the blains that we had in Egypt. So Yehovah said to Moses and Aaron, take for thyself a handful of ashes from the furnace, and let Moses scatter it toward the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. And it will become fine dust in the land of Egypt. And it will cause boils that break out in sores on man and beast throughout the land of Egypt. Then they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses scattered them toward the heavens. And they caused boils to break out in sores on man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were in the magicians and on all the Egyptians. This is what's going to happen. Here's tumors. Remember the tumors? We had tumors when they took the ark from us. The Philistines took the ark from us, brought it down to Ashdod. And the hand of Yehovah was heavy on the people of Ashdod. And he revenged them and struck them with tumors. Struck them with tumors, both Ashdod and its territories. Here's another one. So it was after they had carried it away that the hand of Yehovah was gathered against the city with a great destruction. They moved it from one city to another. And he struck the men of the city, both small and great. And tumors broke out on them. Here's the last one. And the men who did not die were stricken with tumors. And the cry of the city went up to heaven. These are not good things, worthless things, aren't they? And Yehovah will strike thee with madness, blindness, confusion of heart. I put mind and hearts are confused. Madness and blindness and confusion of heart. You know, I don't think this is literal blindness. I think it's the inability to see clearly what's going on. Here, look at this. Psalm 60, verse 3. You have shown your people hard things. You have made us drink the wine of confusion. Here's Isaiah. And he said, go and tell this people. Keep on hearing and do not understand. Keep on seeing and do not perceive. Hearing and not understanding. Seeing and not perceiving. Make the heart of this people dull. There it is. Madness, blindness, confusion. And their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and return and be healed. Is there a time coming where we're not going to be able to repent again? I think the day will come. I think it's going to come after a Yom Kippurim, the last Yom Kippurim that we have before we go into the millennial kingdom. I think once that happens, there's not going to be any repentance. You're going to go through the destruction that Yehovah is bringing on the earth. Yom Kippurim is a pretty important day. Remember, it's all about returning back to Yehovah's created purpose for our life. The man was created to serve only Yehovah. The woman was created to serve her man. To be his etzer kenegdo, his aid suitable. I like to use, many people like the helpmate. An aid suitable, a suitable aid. Let's continue. 29. And you shall grope at noonday as a blind man gropes in darkness. Thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt only be oppressed and plundered continually, and no one shall save thee. Is there anything good in these curses that you'd like to have? Thou shalt betroth a woman, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell in it. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, but thou shalt not gather the grapes. You know, I thought about this. Remember, he's talking about the blessings and the curses. Who's going to take this betrothed woman if it's not the man? Who's going to take and build the house that he built? Who's going to take the vineyard that he planted? Is it possible that Israel's seed is going to do just that? I put, these may be the women the houses, the vineyards that will come into the remnant's hands in the last days. You shall dwell in houses you did not build. You shall drink the wine from the vineyards that you did not plant. Here, this is Deuteronomy 20. What man is there who has planted a vineyard and has not eaten it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man eat it. And what man is there who has betrothed a woman and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man marry her. This is how it's supposed to be. We don't even war, because we're going to make sure that the seed, as it were, that we've planted, we're going to reap. Thy ox shall be slaughtered before thy eyes, but thou shalt not eat of it. Slaughtered, eat. There you go. Zavak. They're things that we're going to eat. Thy donkey will be violently taken away from before thee, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy, not sheep, thy flocks. Remember, sheep and goats. Thy flocks, here it is. Thy Zion. Zion. Thy Zion shall be given to thy enemies, and thou shalt have no one to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no strength in your hands. How are sons and daughters given to another people? Child protection? Taking them from us? Maybe that's part of the curse. A nation whom thou have not known shall eat the fruit of thy land here. The land's fruit, and all thy labor, here, this is my translation, shall a people that thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed continually. This reminds me of what was going on when Midian was raiding Israel. Remember Gideon? He was threshing the wheat inside the wine barrel, the wine press. That's where he was threshing his wheat. Why? Because he was hiding it from the Midians. A nation whom you have not known shall eat the land's fruit, and all thy labor shall a people that thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed continually. So you shall be driven mad because the sight which your eyes see. I said, have the great arm of Yehovah fighting against you is enough to drive anyone mad. Yes, having the great arm of Yehovah fighting against you is enough to drive anyone mad. Can you imagine? Do you want to fight against Yehovah? You're going to lose, aren't we? Yehovah will strike thee in the knees, on thy legs, with severe boils, which cannot be healed, and from the sole of thy foot to the top of thy head. Boils now. Yehovah will bring thee and the king who you set over thee to a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there you shall serve other Elohim, wood and stone. I think it's disappointing that it says wood and stone, serve other Elohim, wood and stone. I really would like to say I mean, it's like you're confusing the first commandment and the second commandment about serving Elohim. You shall serve. I am Yehovah, I brought you out of the land of Egypt. Thou shalt have no other Elohim existing before our eyes, before my eyes. The second commandment is about bowing down to idols. It seems like it gets confused. And thou shalt become an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations. All nations. Remember, Israel is not numbered among the nations. They dwell alone. Where Yehovah will drive thee. We've been driven out. These are the curses. We've been driven out now into the nations. And we are becoming an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations. Been there, done that. Thou shalt carry much seed out to the field, but gather little in, for the locust shall consume it. These are agricultural curses now that we're talking about. He's going to go on for a little while. Thou shalt plant vineyards and tend them, but thou shalt neither drink the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout thy territory, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with oil, for the olives shall drop off. Here's now sons. You shall beget sons and daughters, but they shall not be thine, for they shall go into captivity. Are they being carried off somewhere? Locusts shall consume all thy trees and the produce of thy land. Here, look, this, remember I always tell you, look up words like alien and stranger and foreigner. It says the alien who is among thee shall rise higher and higher above thee, and thou shalt come down lower and lower. This word alien is the ger. Remember, he's the ger who dwells with us. We're leading the ger. I put these are unnatural occurrences. This is not supposed to be what's happening. He shall lend to thee, but thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Remember, in the blessings, it was us who was going to be the heads. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue and overtake thee until thou art destroyed, because thou did not obey the voice of Yehovah thy Elohim to keep his statutes or his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. You know, this is one thing that I really like and appreciate about Deuteronomy, is they always talk about his statutes and his judgments. I really like that, because we are so trained to follow the statutes and the judgments of the land. Remember, they do not keep the king's commandments, keep the king's laws. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and on thy descendants, thy seed forever. Forever? That's a long time. Maybe it's not a long time, huh? Because thou did not serve Yehovah thy Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for the abundance of everything. You know, when we're serving Yehovah and enjoying his abundance, don't take it for granted. This is what Israel did over and over and over. They'd get a new judge. The enemies would be driven out of their land. They'd start to prosper again. And then they would go and get what's the word I want to use? Lackadaisical? Did not appreciate the things that Yehovah was bringing for them? Did they think it was because of their righteousness that they were getting this stuff? No, we want to continue to be grateful. I like this, to serve Yehovah thy Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for the abundance of everything. Therefore thou shalt serve thy enemies whom Yehovah will send against thee in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and in need of everything. Oh boy, look at that. Hunger and thirst and nakedness. Does that remind you of anything? He will put a yoke of iron on thy neck until he has destroyed thee. Here, this is a New Testament verse, but I thought it was very appropriate. Therefore do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Hunger. What shall we drink? Thirst. What shall we wear? Nakedness. For all these the Gentiles seek. You know what? When you're following Yehovah and under his blessings, all these things come to us. For thy heavenly Father knows that thou needst these things. But seek first the kingdom of Elohim and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to thee. They're part of the blessings. These curses are for our assured destruction until he has destroyed thee. Yehovah will bring a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as eagles, a nation whose language you will not understand. You know, I thought about this. It sounds a little bit like Israel, but we're talking about Israel. I've often thought that when Yahweh brings back Zion, and his watchmen all see eye to eye, that maybe, just maybe, he's going to bring us back to the original language. Wouldn't that be cool? Whose language you will not understand. A nation of fierce countenance. Israel, see, is going to be a nation of fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly or show favor to the young. You know what? When we came into Canaan, we did not respect the elderly or show favor to the young. Everybody that breathed in that land was destroyed. Is that what's going to happen again? We'll see. A nation of fierce countenance. Here's Joel 2. Blow the alarm, blow the trumpet in Zion. Sound the alarm on the holy mountain. Let the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of Yehovah is coming. It is at hand, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, like the morning clouds spread over the mountains. A people come, great and strong, the like of whom has never been, nor shall there ever be any such as them, even for many successive generations. A nation of fierce countenance. Could this be what we're talking about? They shall eat the increase of thy livestock and the produce of thy land until thou art destroyed. They shall not leave thee grain nor new wine or oil, or the increase of thy cattle or the offspring of thy flocks, until they have destroyed thee. They shall besiege thee at all thy gates, until thy high and fortified walls, in which thou trust, come down throughout all your land. And they shall besiege thee at all thy gates throughout all thy land, which Yehovah thy Elohim has given thee. Thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body. Oh my goodness, look at this. Talk about not multiplying us. Now we ourselves are going to eat our own flesh. This is how bad it's going to be with these curses. You shall eat the fruit of thy own body. the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, whom Yehovah thy Elohim has given thee, in the siege and desperate straits in which thy enemy will distress thee. Here, there's Lamentations. Look at this. And I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters. And everyone shall eat the flesh of his friend in the siege and in the desperation in which their enemies and those who seek their lives shall drive them to despair. Here's another one. See, O Yehovah, and consider, to whom have you done this? Should a woman eat their offspring? The children they have cuddled? Should the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of Yehovah? Well, look at how bad this is going to get. Here's the sensitive and refined man. The sensitive and refined man among thee will be hostile towards his brother, towards the woman of his bosom, and towards the rest of his, I bet you that's sons, and towards the rest of his sons, which he shall leave. I wanted to say something about bosom. I guess it's going to be another portion today that we're going to see that, but I want to talk about that. Towards the wife of his bosom, the woman is in his bosom. So he will not give any of them the flesh of his sons, whom he will eat. Does it say sons or children? No, flesh of his sons again, which he shall eat for food, because he has no other. In the cruel grip of your haters on all your towns. Because he has nothing left in the siege, in which your enemy shall distress thee at all your gates. That was the, what they call him? This is the sensitive and refined man. Yeah, this is the sensitive and refined man is eating his own children. Here's the tender and delicate woman among thee, who would not venture to set a sole of her foot on the ground because of her delicateness and sensitivity. She will refuse to, here it is, it says, the husband of her bosom. She will refuse to, her bosom man is what we're talking about. And against her son and against her daughter. Her bosom man. What's he going to refuse? It says her placenta, which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears. Here, this is the word they use for their nabane. That's again her sons whom she bears. For she will eat them in secret for lack of everything, in which the siege and desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress you as at all your gates. I want to go back to this bosom. Look at this. This is the word they use for bosom. Here, I want to show you here. Bosom man, here it is. Cake. This happens to be cake, her cake. Her cake in there too, huh? Here it is. A masculine noun referring to bosom. It refers to the upper part of a person's body where objects and persons of love are embraced or clasped with hands or arms. One's wife or concubine. Oh, how interesting. One's husband, literally the man of her bosom. This is what we were talking about right here. They put her husband, but it really doesn't say her husband. It says her bosom man. Her bosom man. Here's the root of this word, which I think is interesting. This is het, yod, kaf. Here's het, vav, meaning bosom. Just as the pictograph het is a picture of a wall, the bet is a picture of a tent or house. Combined, these mean the wall of the house. The walls of the house enclose the home as refuge for the family. A refuge functions as a hiding place from any undesirable person or situation. Here's the word that we're looking at right now, bosom, a place of refuge. Her husband, her man, is her place of refuge. Just as Yehovah, remember, Israel is his bride. As a young man Baals a woman, so Yehovah Baals his sons. Yehovah calls Israel's seed his special treasure. Remember, the special treasure is that thing of high value that he never lets out of his sight. He keeps it in the place of his bosom. Oh my goodness, it's so interesting. Here's this woman keeping her placenta, which comes out between her feet, and her children, her sons, whom she bears. She will eat them secretly for lack of everything, in which the siege and desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress thee at all thy gates. This is the delicate, the tender and delicate woman. Seems that these good people, this is what we're talking about, good. Why do good things happen, or why do evil things happen to good people? Maybe this is letting us see what these people are actually like. Yeah, as I was saying, these are the women. I mean, this is the gentle. Here, look. What did it say? The sensitive and very refined man. The tender and delicate woman. We're seeing another aspect of these people. Woe to those who call tender and delicate. Yehovah measures goodness by a scale different than what the world defines goodness, measures goodness. (58) If you do not carefully observe all the laws of this Torah, here. If you do not carefully observe all the Torah words that are written in this book, this is what it's saying, the Torah, it's ha-Torah. All the words, they say this law, if you do not observe all the Torah words that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and awesome name, Yehovah, thy Elohim. Why do they have this in caps? Why? The Lord, your Elohim, your God. This is almost always the Lord, thy God, in small letters, but now they're putting it in all caps. Why is this all in caps? Are the translators trying to turn people away from Yehovah's name? I think that's what it is. Or are they just ignorant? I think the answer is the former and not the latter. They're trying to turn people away. They know what his name is. These translators, they know it's Yehovah. They're not blind. Is it their effort to hide the name of the true Elohim and substitute the name of the golden calf in his place? I think it is. How many people want to make it Jesus, the name, the awesome, glorious name? Jesus. No, it's not Jesus. It's Yehovah. Then Yehovah will bring upon thee and thy descendants extraordinary plagues, great and prolonged plagues, and serious and prolonged sicknesses. On thee and thy seed. Moreover, remember, it's about wiping your name from the face of the earth. He's got to put it on your seed because he can't have the seed multiplying. They have to come to an end. It's part of the curses to destroy you from the earth. We'll see that in just a moment. Moreover, he will bring back on thee all the diseases of Egypt, of which thou wert afraid, and they shall cling to thee. Also, here, diseases of Egypt, all Israel's diseases. Here. This is Deuteronomy 7. And Yehovah will take away from you all sickness, and will afflict you with none of the terrible diseases of Egypt. Remember, this is if we obey his statutes, his judgments, and his ordinances. And will afflict you with none of the terrible diseases of Egypt, which you have known, but will lay them on those who hate you. Here's the other one that we've seen in the past. And son, if you diligently heed the voice of Yehovah thy Elohim, and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments, and keep his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on thee, which I have brought on the Egyptians. For I am Yehovah who heals thee. Do you want the diseases or do you want the healing? It's all about keeping his statutes, his commandments. Getting the blessings instead of the curses. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of the Torah, them will Yehovah bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. Here's the key to the blessings and the curses. Maybe I'll wait until we get another couple verses. We're almost there. He says, thou shalt be left few in number, whereas thou were as the stars of heaven in multitude, because thou would not obey the voice of Yehovah thy Elohim. Here it is. And it shall be that just as Yehovah rejoiced over thee to do thee good and to multiply thee to give you the blessings, so Yehovah will rejoice over thee to destroy thee and to bring thee to nothing. Bring thee to nothing. Destroy not only thee, but to destroy your seed. And thou shalt be plucked off the land which thou go to possess. This is the end result of these curses and disobedience. You know what? We're not seeing them right now. David said, why do the wicked prosper? Seems like the wicked prosper a lot, don't they? Well, you know what? That's not always going to be. Don't become and do wickedness because you want to prosper. Let Yehovah bring the blessings to you. And Yehovah will scatter thee among the peoples, from one end of the earth, even to the other end of the earth. And there you shall serve other Elohim, lawmakers and judges, which your fathers have not known. which you have not known, thou nor thy fathers, even wood and stone, even Elohim of wood and stone, I guess you could say it. And among those nations thou shalt find no rest, nor shall the sole of thy feet have a resting place. But there Yehovah will give thee a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul. Don't want any of that. Thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. Thou shalt fear day and night, and have no assurance of life. In the morning thou shalt say, oh, that it were evening. And at evening thou shalt say, oh, that it were morning. Because of the fear that terrifies thy heart, and because of the sight which thy eyes see. And Yehovah will take thee back to Egypt in ships, by the way which I said to thee, thou shalt never see it again. Never see Egypt again? And there thou shalt be offered for sale to your enemies, as male and female slaves. But no one will buy thee. Us and the woman of our bosom are going to be sold as male and female slaves. But it says no one will buy thee. Well, if no one buys thee, what happens to you? Do we get put to the sword? If no one wants us? We're worthless. Unless they just put us to work doing menial work. Could be. I think we'll stop here. We'll pick this up next week. We're going to talk about two covenants. You know, so much of what we've been seeing here in Deuteronomy says things like this day, today, really. Almost every place where it says today, it says this day. Ha-yomim. It says these are the words of the covenant which Yehovah commanded Moses to make with Israel's seed in the land of Moab. Now it says besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. This whole chapter is what's going on in the land of Moab. But it's distinguished or separated from, it says besides, here's the word that they use for this, separated. Bad, isn't that appropriate? Separate, something that is separated from the whole. Besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Well, we have seen over and over in Deuteronomy that this covenant that he makes with Israel's seed in the land of Moab is different than the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Can one supersede the other? Can the words which Yehovah says that we're not to add to or subtract from be changed and have something else supersede those words? Well, we're going to talk about this next week. I don't know. I don't think so. Can one covenant supersede the other? We'll talk about it. Hey, thanks for joining me. Please join me again. We're almost done with Deuteronomy. Have a great day. Bye now.